in search of on this edition of New Home Sales In. I recently came across a video from the producers of This Old House. It does a really good job of explaining the current supply chain shortages as it relates to home builders and remodelers alike. Let's take a look.
So you guys ready to talk supply chain?
Sure.
Yeah, problem, right? And so you can't find the materials you need. I think I know why we can't find any contractors. They're all here. But in all seriousness, has it affected your industry specifically, Jen?
Absolutely, like concrete pavers, decking, and then you have to have the patience of your client.
You can't get the stuff.
You can't get the stuff. It was been delayed 3 months here, 3 months there, and try telling that to your client who's already been waiting 8 months to get to their house, right?
What can't you get, Ross?
Wi-Fi chips for smart home devices, they're on back order.
Whole heat pumps that are coming from afar, but also an odd thing, components like tub fillers. You can still get the big parts, but you can't get the washers and the stems and all the things that are outsourced from all over the globe. So it's the little component parts that means you can't get the big parts.
What's going on in masonry, Mark?
If I had to pick one material that you just can't get, it's going to be bluestone.
Bluestone?
Yeah.
That comes from here.
It comes from here, but they can't get it out of the mountain. There's not enough labor to curate the material from the mountain.
Gotcha. Mara, what about you? Backups?
I can get some paint bases to make darker colors.
You can't.
Cannot.
So you're just telling customers you can't get them?
Color cousin, choose another color, or we're going to wait, but we don't know when we're going to get it.
What's it like on those job sites, Pops?
It's you name it, everything from concrete to a job site. You can't get a concrete truck because you don't have a driver. Windows, 16, 18, 20 weeks out. Lumber, roofing materials, all kinds of things. You can't get it. It's around, but you can't get it to the job site.
So how are the customers taking it, Jen? What do they say when you tell them they can't have this or that?
Some are understanding and say, "Oh, we understand," but can you make an exception? Like, don't you have some kind of connection?
Buddy.
I got a guy, but no, people are not as flexible because they are stuck in their homes and they just want change. Everyone's been trapped, right? They want change, and if I can't help them get there, I feel really bad, but it's not my fault.
How are your customers taking it, Ross?
Frustrated.
Yeah.
They're like, why can't I get that system? Why can't I put that in? It's like you have to wait, or you have to have that plan B.
Right.
That's a hard conversation to have, and it's have a plan B, have a plan C now in this environment, just to make sure that if there's something goes wrong, and you can't get that system, you have a backup plan. Not everybody wants to hear that though.
Mark, you're doing residential and commercial. Do you see it equally as trying in both sides of that?
Very much so, and in particular, on the commercial side, there are still penalty clauses written in contracts. So if you
Penalties against you?
against me. So if I can't get my product on site, it's all on me, and again, it becomes a business problem very, very quickly.
But that has to be relieved. That time clause in commercial projects can no longer stand if it's an external factor beyond your control.
So to Richard's point, that's what I fight every day.
So what's the root cause, do you think?
In some ways, it's a weird confluence. We've got unbelievable demand. This just pent-up demand from everybody was home during the pandemic. They want to fix stuff up. There's cheap money. At the same time, we've got incredible supply, but it's sitting in cargo ships and sitting offshore. We just don't have the last mile. We can't connect the last mile between the supply and the demand. And then, that's just on the material side. You combine that with a labor shortage, it's a crazy thing. And no matter how you tell somebody 16 weeks, there's no way to make 16 weeks sound, because that's actually 4 months. That's
right.
The reality is they don't
a third
look
of
that
a
far
year, just no matter how you say it, it's not.
It makes them not want to do the project.
So the plan B, Tommy, if you've got a customer and they want what they want and you just can't deliver it, are there tips, things that they should be thinking about in terms of how to deal with something that you can't fix?
My rule of thumb years ago was plan A and plan B. All right, pick a second choice in case we can't get that tile. Now I mean it more than ever, A, B, or C. And I can't even guarantee C, but you have to be flexible in that way. So maybe the tile that you wanted the first isn't going to make it. The second one's not going to make it, but we are lucky with the third, but it's going to be still going to be 14 weeks away. So you have to be flexible in that way as a homeowner to take it. I mean, people have money because they're not going away, and now they're building that dream edition or whatever they're doing, or buying a car, whatever they're doing, because they get extra money and they want to spend it.
Mara, if you build a house and you get down to the final steps and you pick the color and you fell in love with it and they hear they can't have a dark color, what's plan B?
Oh, I can see on their faces. They don't like it. They don't like it at all. Because they base the colors on everything else, like a couch or a rug or a curtains, everything. So they hate it when I say, I don't have this color.
That Plan C tile they'll look
that's
at for the
Plan
rest
C.
of their life and think of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Same
Ross,
thing.
most people don't even know the systems you're talking about, right? They're not that sophisticated. How could they come up with a plan B? What do you tell them? Like, what is the alternative?
I mean, sometimes it's looking at a different manufacturer that might have something available. In one project in particular, there's a shortage of refrigerators, right? So the refrigerator that is actually cased, the opening for, and everything's ready to go for, it's a 20-week lead time item. So what they're doing is they're getting a temporary refrigerator to put in, and they're going to wait that time period, until they actually get the refrigerator that they finally ordered.
Right.
So these, okay.
What I was just going to say, Kevin, is there are restrictions for truckers. So it's not like if I had Bluestone in Connecticut and I'm from Massachusetts, I can get in my truck, drive down to Connecticut, load my truck, and leave. There are state bylaws and state restrictions that I would have to abide by. So I can't go down and get my own material. I can't solve the problem that way.
Interstate, intrastate,
Yeah.
you have to have a certain license for that. Your truck has to be able to carry the load, and your license has to be able to drive that load.
Your Bluestone situation brought up the point of labor, though, and we have been talking about the labor shortage for years. It feels like it is finally coming home to roost. Are any of you guys less busy than you've ever been? I mean, this is the busiest time you've ever been, all of you? Busy?
The busiest.
Busiest.
Busy,
Very,
busy?
very busy.
Are you all looking for people? Is everyone looking for people?
Absolutely.
Always.
There's nobody in the skilled trades that isn't looking for more people.
But we're not as busy as we should be because we can't get that help. So if we had 2 jobs to do, we can only do 1. So
what would we say, again, to all these young people who are thinking about maybe or maybe not going into the trades? What do you say to them?
I mean, there's nothing more fulfilling than working with your hands, working on a craft that you basically can come home and sleep good at night and basically have, a great experience for that day. There's nothing like making your own, work schedule, right?
And who got to work in a pandemic? I mean, we were deemed essential workers. We could go out, we took COVID tests, we were masked up, but we were able to work. So
Recession-proof, pandemic-proof.
any younger person in this world, you have 2 hands, you could work with it, and you can make money
Working
and be creative.
At least 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
time and a half, and plenty of jobs to go to.
Yep.
I mean, get it back into the schools. Teach these young kids that they can do stuff with their hands. Junior high and high school, if nothing else. Teach them. Get them aware of it.
And they'll feel good about themselves too. That's a huge thing.
Crystal ball time. If we had this if you had to predict how long is it going to go on? Is it about to wrap up? We got 6 more months, more than a year left. How long are these shortages of both materials and labor going to go, Tom?
I like to think no more than a year, but I really don't know.
Mara?
I say it's unpredictable. Don't know.
Mara?
I agree with everyone, but I'm still feeling pretty positive. I think it's gonna alleviate itself.
Richard?
I think we got at least another year.
Same, at least another year.
I'm going for optimism here, working with plants. We just need to get them dug and brought to your space. So I think it's going to get better sooner than we think.
Sounds like I'm hearing be creative.
You go in 11 months?
He's hedging your bets.
Be creative, be positive, and young people get into the trades, right?
Absolutely. We need them.
All right, thank you guys. Now, please, everyone, back to work. We need you out there. Go on.
I'm up for that.
So really, the takeaway is this. Let's treat each other with some patience and grace. No builder, no remodeler wants to take any longer than we have to try to help get you into your brand new home. So stay tuned. There is always more to come.